We're hot off the back of Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, where we got our first look at the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. There were loads of announcements and improvements that have been made to this new line. We got excited about that, and so we're here to just talk about the kind of tech and features, and I'm happy to say that I'm joined by Mike Channel to do so from Outside Xbox.
Hello, yes, yeah, typically known for the console realm, but I'm being tempted into the world of mobile gaming by devices like the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra.
Which, I'm happy to say, fits very neatly in my pocket here.
Such a pro. Look at
that. I mean, immediately, it's slim, really good sized screen. It's got this cobalt violet colorway, which is really nice. And then obviously a bunch of cameras on the back as well.
Yeah.
All that tech was covered, but actually we're really interested in what's inside.
Absolutely.
You've been playing about with it this morning already.
I have, yeah.
What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of kit. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip in there. So this is a highly performant mobile chip. So it's really, really top-end performance for mobile gaming. The screen is absolutely stunning. It's an AMOLED screen, up to 120 hertz. It's sort of edge to edge, so it really goes right up to the edge of the bezel. And it's got a sort of anti-reflective coating as well, which you remember back in the old days of handhelds, if the sun was in the wrong place, you wouldn't be able to play it. Obviously, you don't have to worry about that at all.
Touching on the processor, I mean, here they're saying the CPU performance is up 90%, GPU performance is up 24%. Those are obviously impressive numbers, but realistically, that just means that any time that you're playing, it's feeling smoother. You've got more control. You're able to stay just that little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I grabbed this phone this morning, and the first thing I did was just whack all the graphics settings up to high to really test it out. And yeah, it's really liberating to have a new piece of hardware and to be able to just go into the settings and just be like, yep, max everything out, make it look as good as possible. I mean, it's not just going to help you when you're playing games. That processor is brilliant for just responsiveness in menus. It's going to improve your holistic experience, but as a game system, it's right up there.
Because ultimately, all us gamers want is just stable frame rates and high frame rates if we can get them.
High frame rates, better graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we've got. I think the ray tracing in particular is really, really cool. That is for a long time a technology that was very much limited to high-end PCs. It's made its way into home consoles.
It's getting to consoles, but even then, you're still having to sometimes choose between whether you're getting 60 frames a second and no ray tracing, or 30 frames a second and ray tracing. So yeah, to have that on a device that small as well, it's
brilliant.
Incredible.
So you're looking at, if you don't know what ray tracing is, it's to do with tracking the path of rays of light, essentially. So it means better reflections, and so areas like icy sort of locations, the reflections on the ice look better, or water, that kind of thing. So
Cyberpunk is always one of those games that's like, this is what the peak of ray tracing would look like. Cyberpunk, not yet on mobile.
Not yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if they could squeeze it on. When processors start getting this powerful, I think you're going to see more and more of these games that were traditionally restricted to the console, under your TV, appearing on mobile.
Yeah, and so what are some of the games that you've been playing and tinkering around with so far?
So I played a bit of Diablo Immortal. That was really, really good. That does support ray tracing. Also War Thunder, which again is a ray tracing supported game, and a bit of PUBG Mobile as well, because I like a bit of Battle Royale. I think competitive titles are becoming a bigger thing on mobile. The last few years, games like PUBG Mobile, which see you competing against real players.
Yeah, huge tournaments.
And people take it seriously. Yeah, there's this sort of esports grade competition on there. So what you've got here is the beautiful combination of a screen that can do 120 hertz, so 120 frames per second, and also the sort of CPU and GPU performance to actually drive those frames. And frame rate isn't just about making things smoother. As you say, your inputs, the response time is quicker because it is reflected in the next available frame. Higher frame rates mean more response time. So if you're looking to be at kind of peak performance as a gamer and really compete in games like PUBG Mobile, then yeah, you've got the kit you need in this handset.
And if you're anything like me, when you're playing on your phone for a long time, at some point it just almost becomes a bit too hot to handle.
Yeah.
Every press starts to feel like you're transferring the heat to your thumb. Not great if you want to game for a long time, but this has got a whole new heat dissipation system. Yeah,
so the problem you get on a lot of mobile devices is obviously mobile devices need to be small, they need to be pocketable, they need to be compact, right? You can't have a load of vents, you can't have a load of fans and things like that. So thermal management can be a big issue. And what you get if your processor starts to get too hot is a thing called thermal throttling, right? So thermal throttling is what happens when the chip is getting too hot. It has to artificially reduce its performance in order to maintain the safety and integrity of the processor. What you often get with other mobile devices is you'll be playing a game and the phone or handset or device or whatever will start to get hot and you'll notice performance starts to drop. If the cooling isn't sorted, that can happen like 5 minutes into playing a game, right? Which is a nightmare for long gaming sessions. Yeah. What they have in the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra is an enormous vapor chamber, right? The vapor chamber in this phone runs almost the entire length of the... I was
going to say enormous, but it's still a pretty... it's still pretty slim, so it's impressive.
You would never know it to look at it, but this has a much bigger sort of cooling system in order to keep that high-performance chip running at peak performance for longer. A lot of people look at the headline specs, and this is an extremely impressive chip, but if the cooling isn't up to it, you won't be running at peak performance. So I really like that Samsung are taking the thermals of this device seriously, because it will have an effect on the amount of time you can spend gaming. I mean, the battery life's amazing as well.
Yeah, did it say like 31 hours or something? Video playback.
Video playback, yeah. I was playing this for a fair old while, and it is on 92% battery, right? And this was like, I was playing for over an hour. So being able to reach those raw performance figures sustained is important, and having the battery life to see you through as well.
Yeah. So the screen itself is a Gorilla Armor 2 screen, so that's an upgrade from the previous generation. You're not going to scratch it. You don't have to be worried about it.
I think the other thing I would say, just having nice materials is a real treat. When you're spending that much time holding something and interacting with it, those really nice industrial materials, that Gorilla Armor 2 glass and things, it shouldn't just be functional. It should be a pleasure to use as well.
The thing that really seemed to blow everybody away in the Unpacked event was the privacy display.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. So tell us more about that.
So this is like a genuinely huge sort of game-changing technological leap for mobile screens in general. So essentially, the phone has a privacy setting where you can hit a button and all of a sudden the viewing angles close up. So typically you want screens to be viewable from as many angles as possible, because if you're showing people things, you don't want to compromise the image. But this has the option to switch to the equivalent of, you remember those horrible old sort of sticky privacy films that people could put on screen and stuff, and then it has all the features of a privacy screen, but it's in software. So you can hit a button at any point and make the entire screen invisible to anyone that isn't looking directly at it. This is very, very cool technology. And not only that, but it doesn't have to be the whole screen. No, so you can hide individual notifications, which is nuts.
Yeah, you can apply it to not only individual notifications, but also specific apps. So if you're pulling up your calendar or something like that, and then you just immediately, as soon as that
up
on the screen. Yeah, exactly. All of that type of stuff that you just maybe want to keep a bit secret. If you want to be on the train doing stuff, being a bit, productive, practical, you don't have to worry about someone kind of like peeking over your shoulder.
We've all been in that situation on an aeroplane where you're about to put on like a Jason Statham movie.
Yes.
And then you look behind you and you realise that looking through the little gap between the seats is like a 4-year-old. And you're like, well, I guess I'm going to watch Bluey for the next 11 hours then. I just hacked someone to death with a machete in PUBG Mobile. I don't necessarily want everyone on the train to know that that's what I'm up to.
Yeah. It's so effective that it does look like if you have it on and someone is looking at you from the side, that you just look like you're touching a dead device.
Yeah, you're staring at your phone and it's off.
Yeah. There are loads of features that we've mentioned, but there's also loads more that were announced. The camera, the Pro Scaler, all of the bells and whistles that are in there. You can learn more about them at Samsung.com, which is also where you can put in your pre-order for the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra for when it launches on March the 11th. Thanks, Mike, for joining me today to take me through the features. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm going to have that.
No, I thought I could hold on for it.
No,
for a while. No?
I think it's mine, actually.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's got, look,
get my pre-order in.
It fits perfectly in the pocket.
It's true, yeah. I can't argue with that.
That's how I know it's mine.